Hey, Tiffany here. Let's talk about these messages and provide some context to my post yesterday. There were some questions, and I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and answer and share. So first of all, let's talk about these messages. I want to share, provide some context to. Let me say a quick thank you to my peeps who entertained my messages that day. I just felt so heavy one day, and I messaged some of my people and I was like, hey, I just sent them a picture of like the unread messages that I had. And let me pull that up while I'm talking about it. And it was like, girl, why? What are people, what are people asking? Um, Somebody was like, oh, you need an assistant and um and so forth. And so let me pull it up and show you all what I'm talking about. All right, so this is my Facebook page. Can y'all see that? So this was the message. This was the actual text message that I sent out to just a handful of people that I talked to, like on a regular or whatever. And yeah, so it was, and I posted just sharing like, I can breathe now, a weight has been released. I combed through the unread messages. The majority of the messages were low priority. Simple stuff like I'm gonna give you all some of like the messages that were unread. But yeah, they were low priority, and I noted that I don't, blame anybody for messaging me. I'm not upset that people message me, like that's weird. Um, but just to self-reflect and assess, I realized that I had to make some adjustments because that's just not normal. Right. And I will say these messages built up over a few weeks. This was not one day. This was not one week. It was a few weeks that these messages, built up. And I had to realize that I'm one person, and that's like a whole lot. That's just like a whole lot. And so why? How do we get here? And one thing that I've noticed along my journey and just growing and developing and having coaching and so forth like that, I realized that whenever you need to fix something, it's totally fixable. You can fix whatever you desire to fix in your life. And it starts by first just reflecting on yourself. So I had to say, Tiffany, why? Why are you receiving these messages? And I had to realize, okay, let me go back to that post and show you all my mindset and my working through this. And I was like, you know what? I need to commit to having less responsibility. I need to not have so much responsibility in what I'm doing. Because one thing that I shared, who was it with? I don't know. I shared probably, I don't know who it was, but I was like, you know what? That was I'll get back to that. So let's do these and less responsibilities, right? So I have to commit myself to doing less because when you commit yourself to anything, whether it be, and this is not work, none of these were work-related messages either. Let me just say that these were not business or work-related messages, and that's the thing that tickles me. These messages were low priority, zero income generating messages. So I was okay, I need to release myself of the demands of other people because when you commit to do anything, right? When you have a responsibility to anything or any person, any group, any organization, it attaches a responsibility to you that you are duly required to fulfill. And I get that. So I had to say, okay, Tiffany, you need to find a way to have less duties, less positions so that you have your responsibilities, right? Stand on saying your no. Like it's okay to say no, no, I can't. No, I can't. No, I can't. And I made a mistake probably about 2 years ago in committing to do something. I knew that it would be a lot, but I did not foresee how much it would have been. And I want to remind you that whatever you commit yourself to will require more time than you expect, especially when you have a thumbprint of excellence. You cannot do it all. So when I accepted, accepted, I had to later relinquish that task, that responsibility, and then that puts more work on, someone else, right? So even if it's uncomfortable for you to say no anyway, because it saves you and the additional parties less work afterwards, right? Just say no. It's sometimes uncomfortable, especially when you want to help, and especially when you have the knowledge, the skill, and the expertise to help. Especially when you know how to do something, you want to do it, you want to help, but you cannot do it all. And I'm going to talk about managing your excellence. And I realized you have to give people back their responsibility. Give people back their responsibility. It's just that simple. There are some things that people will ask you to do that they are more than capable of doing themselves. But if you continue to respond and help and solve, you are enabling them to come back again. And especially when it's for the free 99, that's just too much. You are one person. Give people back their responsibility. I thank you for your trust and my expertise, but this is your project, and I desire that you will choose. This is your project, and I think it's best that you choose the desired outcome, or I think it's best that you make the decision. Thank you for trusting in me. Thank you for asking for my feedback. However, this is your decision, whatever it may be. I support your decision. I support your idea. Another question I get a lot is, oh, what do you think about? I'm to the point now, I don't have the capacity. I don't have the energy to think for you, right? I'm a marketer and I'm a system strategist. My brain is always going. And anybody that's a creative and an introvert, you know exactly what I mean. There are times where I know when it's time to wake up. It could be 3 or 4 o'clock. I'm up because as soon as my mind starts getting in gear, I have to get up. I don't coin myself as a morning person, but that's my optimal time of creativity. I get up and I'm journaling, I'm writing, I'm thinking, I'm strategizing, and this is 3:41 a.m. in the morning. 4 a.m. in the morning before most people get up. So by the time you're asking me for my idea and my opinion at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, baby, I am done with thinking. Because now I have to recharge and I have to reboot. But many times people don't give themselves the space and opportunity to think. So they want to put that on you, and that's not your responsibility. So a lot of the messages that I receive, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? My expertise comes with a price. And that's when you have to understand that you have to manage your excellence. I have experienced imposter syndrome. I have experienced underestimating my gifts and my talent, but people see it and sometimes I don't, because guess what? You are with you all the time. You do what you do all the time. You're not outside looking at yourself. Most times people can see what's in you. People can see your impact, your excellence, your thumbprint most times before you see it. You're underestimating what you do, but they see your power, they see your impact. And so, of course, they will want to ask you for your thoughts, your help, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to have a boundary around how much of yourself you release. So give people back their responsibility. I remember, I will never forget, one morning I received a text message at 4:32 a.m. asking me about a Google form. Not an email, but a text message. And I don't think that person meant any harm. That person, is probably a morning person, up, getting going. I just thought that that was not okay. And I just happened, I don't know if my phone wasn't on Do Not Disturb that night. It wasn't. It wasn't. I think I got up to use the restroom or something like that, and I panicked. And most people don't know, and I'll transparently, openly say this, because I feel like the more I share, I help. But I found out about my father's death via text message. I found out about the death of my business bestie via text message. And so when I receive a message early in the morning or super late at night, right away I'm thinking, is this emergency? You know, and I think that we need to be cautious of how and when we message people, because a message, a 4:32 a.m. text message about a Google form could have waited, or it could have been an email or a scheduled email. You don't deserve anybody's time in the morning. You don't deserve anybody's attention at that time of morning about a Google form. I promise you, it's not that serious. So no one can ever guilt trip me about having my phone on Do Not Disturb. No one can ever guilt trip me about responding to messages when I want to. I think with our growing society, and we're so tech savvy, we are used to just responding right away. I have intentionally, and join me in this, I have been training myself not to jump every time I hear notification. Even in my office, when that phone rings, it can ring. If I'm doing something that requires my attention, especially my creative attention, I am not going to stop what I'm doing to pick up the phone, because guess what? I'm not the only person who can do it. And if I am, if it's my sole responsibility, I'm going to circle back around to it in a timely manner. But you cannot stop every time people request your attention. And that request is a demand of your time. Do you know that every distraction that you receive, it requires your brain 15 minutes to get back on track? So if you stop what you're doing every time someone texts you, every time someone calls you, every time somebody stops at your office door, if you were in your zone, if you were focusing on a task, when you stop to address that person or whatever it is, it takes your brain 15 minutes to get back on track and get in your zone. That's wild. Studies show that, let me pull that up on my Twitter because I quoted it when I read the book. But studies show that CEOs, and I logged that all of myself. Studies show that CEOs get about, I think it's 25 minutes of uninterrupted time every day. That's not normal. It should be normal. I don't encourage, if you are a boss, CEO, of anything like that, I don't encourage open door policy. I feel like you need to close your door sometime. And then we wonder why we're not really executing. Here it is. Studies found that CEOs get about 28 minutes of uninterrupted work a day. That's crazy. That's not normal, and that's not healthy. So know your capacity and don't extend it. When you're great at something, you will be called upon, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? People are supposed to ask of your services. That's what you should expect. But does that mean that you say yes to everything that you are asked to do? You have to learn again to put the responsibility back on people. Another type of text message I received, and again, these are messages where people are totally innocent. When someone texts you, they don't know that you have an inbox of 88 messages. They don't know that. And they don't need to know that. You know, when someone calls you or when someone says, hey, give me a call, they don't know that you have, like, come on. They don't know. So this is not bashing anyone, but it's helping you manage how you are in your life so that you're more comfortable. This is about self-assessment. This is about looking at self and nobody else. I get messages about, hey, can you edit this picture for me? And typically, like, and most times people just want something quick done. And I have to remind myself, Tiffany, you don't have to respond right away. But the helper in me wants to. So I'll drop what I'm doing. And because it's something that I can do quickly, I'll get right back to them. But don't you know, when you continue to do that, people will always expect that. So I've learned to say, hey, I can't do it right now, but here's the app that I use. I can't do that for you right now, but here's where you can Google. And I'm telling you, most times when people ask you something, it is something that they can Google. And I think for myself, and comment and let me know if you're the same way. I'm a reader and I'm a researcher. So if I ask you about something, you 9 times out of 10, you can bet I have tried to figure it out myself over and over again. And maybe it's because I'm an introvert and I don't like to bother people and I don't like to really talk to people. And I'm also only child. So naturally the independence just is in me, right? Lucrece, who does all of my website, like if I ask her anything about WordPress or like Elements, anything, she knows like I've tried. And I tell her, listen, respond to me during your business hours. This is not an emergency. I think I had one emergency where my website shut down. That's because I had so much traffic. And I was like, oh, that's a good thing. Okay, cool. We can just handle that later. Like I don't like to impose any responsibility. I mean, I don't like to impose any emergency on anybody, but she knows why. If Tiffany asking me something, she has really tried to figure it out on her own. And I think that we need to like adapt that as human beings. I had a friend that say everything is figure outable. And it is. Everything is figure outable. So think of some things. And if you ask someone for their thoughts and their opinions, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I love collaboration, but also come up with some solutions of your own, some ideas of your own. Don't just present a blank table and say, well, tell me what you think we should do. Don't do that. And then set specific times in which you will make yourself available. So I will probably post a picture if you all want to see it. If you're on my mailing list, I'm going to send you a picture. But on my computer screen, I have time blocks where I respond to emails, time blocks where I respond to text messages. And that's kind of how some of these piled up too, because if I don't get to those messages within that time block, I'm not doing it. And I do answer in order of priority. There are some people that can message me every day and I have no problem with it because they don't bother me. But there are some messages I'm like, really? And then what tickles me sometimes is I'm like, you waited a whole week for me to respond, and you could have quickly, like, if you would have typed this question in Google, it would have been your first question, first answer that popped up. Right. And I've also noticed that sometimes people will message you to do something, and because you didn't respond in the time that they needed, and I get it, they found somebody else to do it, but they don't circle back and say, hey, never mind, disregard. And that is one of my pet peeves, because if you ask me to do something, I've notated it, I've written it down, I'm going to get to it. I'll most likely say, okay, I have it done by here. If I don't confirm that, then I've forgotten, follow up with me or whatever. But I've had it on my list to do. I've given my time to it, and then to come to you, and then you say, oh, I already got somebody else to do it. I'm like, well, dang, that's a slap in my face. So that's why now I've trained myself not to respond right away. Because if someone needs something done right away, they're asking you and somebody else 2, and somebody else 3, somebody else 4, which is great, which is what they should do. But I think common courtesy would be like, hey, thank you so much for your consideration. I've handled it already. So don't feel like you could really be in a tug of war when there are different requests of you. And I have a book that I suggest you all read too. Let me pull it up. It's called Set Boundaries, Find Peace. This book is great. This is not an ad. I have no referral link, but Miss Nidra, this book is so good. I've been reading it 2 times over, and it has helped me so much. And I realized that not many people have boundaries because we really don't talk about boundaries. We really don't sit and self-reflect. We really don't even sit and give ourselves time to think. You need time to think. I am always thinking about how can I work on Tiffany? How can I make Tiffany better? And that has changed my life because I have less time to criticize other people. I have less time to nitpick at other people because I'm always trying to just work on myself. And I want you, if you're looking for a great book to read, if you struggle with boundaries, if you struggle with time management, if you struggle with speaking up for yourself and just really being comfortable in the skin that you're in and just in your environment, read this book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace. And what I really like about this book is she gives you actual scripts to read. And so for me, I practice what I'm going to say in certain situations because I'm a very strong person. And I've learned I have no problem saying what needs to be said when it should be said, but I'm very selective, and so sometimes I need to practice what I'm going to say so that I'm affirmative when I say it, but gentle as well. And so that I say it, because there's been so many times where I would just suppress my thoughts, suppress my feelings, and people unintentionally would run over me. You know, I remember one time in a coaching session, I was like, I feel like people are pimping my gifts. Because there was a period of time, I'm talking about years, y'all, years, where I worked for free. And I thought it was okay to be doing the work for free. I thought it was okay to be doing the work for free. But I'm so grateful for that experience, because it taught me so much. And it also affirmed that, Tiffany, you that girl, you're good at what you do. Stop underestimating yourself. And that's another reason why I'm passionate about teaching, educating, and empowering, so that people can walk away and, like, you know, learn and do for themselves and grow. And that's why I'm so serious about crushing chaos and being organized, because when you are clear, just imagine if we all woke up every day, or at least 5 days out of the week, you know, maybe 3, I don't know. But just imagine if we all focus on making ourselves better, educating ourselves, setting boundaries for healthy relationships. And that's another thing I shared on Facebook. Boundaries are about creating healthy relationships and friendships with people. Boundaries are not used to weaponize others. Your boundary is not a sword that you're out fighting people with. Rather, your boundary helps set, you know, your expectations. Your boundaries help determine how you're going to treat yourself and how you're going to treat others. You know, you could have a boundary of, I'm going to get to work on time. I'm going to leave work on time. That's a boundary, because you're, you know, setting yourself to be disciplined. You're setting yourself up to respect your work schedule. You're setting yourself up to make the most of your day. I always say, release the pressure that people place on you. People, again, this is unintentional. So don't look at human beings as, you know, villains and bad people. We're all people, and people are going to be people. And they don't know, you know, what you're experiencing in your life and in your world. I'm sure that none of you knew that I had those many messages in my phone. I'm sure that you didn't, right? But I did. So I had to cultivate something in my environment to solve that. And so when it comes to, now speaking to my people who have a purpose, purpose, mission, you're working on something, people unintentionally place expectations on you. I thought you would do this, or it is funny too, because I'm a marketer and I'm a little tech savvy. Sometimes people think I can fix stuff. I can't fix your ring light. I cannot fix your microphone. That's hardware. Like, I can't fix the music table, the switchboard. Software and hardware are two different things. But in people's mind, it's tech related. So maybe Tiffany could do it. I can't do that. You know, like, those are some of the messages that I get. You know, can you help me fix? No, I can't fix that speaker. I can't fix that microphone. I don't fix objects. I don't carry objects. Like, when I hit the grocery store, I pick up my grocery. When I hit the airport, I'm looking for help. Like, Tiffany does not carry stuff. All right. And I don't fix stuff. Like, you will never, as cute as IKEA stuff is, you will not find me buying anything from there unless I pay somebody to put it together. So yes, release the expectations that people put on you. Like, I don't do that. You know, one thing that Nidra says in her book is that she's a therapist during her work hours only, and not after. She says that during her work hours, after her work hours, she does not do anything therapy related. And when I read that, I just took like a big breath of air. Like, I inhaled and I exhaled, because that sat with me. I was like, that's it. Tiffany, you are a marketer during the day. You are a system strategist during the day. You're not a marketer 24/7. So if somebody asks for my expertise or my help and my skills outside of my working hours, I don't have to respond. I don't have to do it. If you are a coach, if you are a speaker, if you are a therapist, you don't have to give therapy tips afterward. I was, oh my God. You know, that just helped me so much. And it probably sounds rude to some people, but I think it's because we don't have boundaries. We overstep and we don't know that we're overstepping. Like that whole hustle culture, work 24/7, sleep when you die. I want to subscribe to that too. But those days are over, right? And it helps you to have peace of mind. It helps you have peace of mind. And so the last point I'm leaving you all with is I sat with myself last Sunday, and I won't pull up that document. I'll probably email the template. So if you're not on my mailing list, you want to jump on my mailing list, I'll put the link in the notes below. But I sat down myself, I was at the coffee shop, and I sat with myself and I said, I listed everything that was bothering me. And when I say the things that were bothering me, I'm talking about the things that were interrupting my peace, the things that I felt were knocking me off balance, the things that I felt were not contributing to my day. And thankfully, none of it was work related. I am blessed. I love my job, the people that I work with. I'm truly blessed. God, it's for me. Like God is great. None of it was work related. None of it was business related. My clients are the system suite. Heart, heart, heart. Love you all. You're the best. And I actually have a text message. I think I can show you our text message. I don't know if it'll be clear on the camera. I don't even know if Ronnie watching, but Ronnie, I'm about to put you up here. Pulling up some messages from my peeps. I should have clipped them on the screen. Winter just, I'll pull up Ronnie's message because he's straight direct to the point. That's why I talk to guys, because they're to the point, y'all. Let me find it. Okay, yeah. So this is, can y'all see that? But he was like, that's because you have great systems for your clients. And I was like, yeah. So all of those messages were not work related. They were not business related. Like my, and that's what tickled me. I'm like, these are not even messages for my clients, right? It was other stuff. So I had to figure out what was knocking me off my equilibrium, what was not contributing to the peace of my day, what was not contributing to the clarity of my day, what was not contributing to the organization of my day. And how am I going to cultivate an environment in my life to where all of that did not knock me off track? Because what happens is when messages like this start to, there's my baby. Oh, and this is where we went. Remember I told y'all I set myself and I came up with my list of what was bothering me. This was Ace. He was my assistant for the day. Y'all put hey Ace in the comments. But yeah, we were sitting and we were getting that together. But when you start to receive message, when you start to receive this value, when you start to see this number build up every day, you have to be careful because it can also start to make you resent certain things. It can make you pull back. It can make you withdraw from whatever it is, whether, whatever it is or whatever the source is, wherever those messages are coming from. So for example, if it's a certain person that calls you 3 times in a row and then texts you 2 times in a row, it can start to make you resent even wanting to see that person's name in your phone. Are y'all picking out what I'm putting down? And so you have to make sure you navigate that well. Don't lead with emotion, but you have to come up with a solution, right? And that's what I'm sharing with you because it can happen. It can happen to anyone. And why do I have 2 phones? This is the main reason why I have 2 phones. I once had 2 lines in one phone, but that didn't work. I needed to totally separate. So this phone right here, outside of business hours, when I'm done for the day, I am done. I don't look at it. I clock out during the weekends too. Because I I have to conserve my peace. So I'm proud of myself for getting into here. When I tell y'all, it was like weight lifted. And the only thing I regret is not doing it sooner than I did. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner than I did. So I want to encourage you to manage your excellence. Understand that you are great at what you do. Understand that people, connections, relationships are important. And we need to cultivate those relationships. We need to build bridges with people and help each other and collaborate while having peace, order, and organization in our lives. Build bridges and also set your boundaries. Live an organized life, live a clear life. Give yourself time every day to work on you, to think of you. And I know the more that we are intentional about getting organized, streamlining, setting structure, it's the best for everybody. But what happens is you're probably in environments where people don't honor structure. People don't honor organization. People don't honor boundaries. So people who don't have structure and boundaries won't respect yours. Does that make sense? People who don't honor their time, their space, don't respect yours. And please, if you have friends and associates that are creatives, and if you have friends and associates that are introverts, please show us grace. Please show us grace. I promise you there are times when we see your text message and we don't have the capacity to respond. We want to. I'm sure there are times where you probably want to call us for advice or call us to vent, but we just don't have the capacity to take care of it. We don't. We don't. Your friend might be an introvert, and as much as your friend might want to help you, there's probably nothing they could do at that moment. And we have to guard ourselves and protect ourselves because so many health-related issues are connected to how we treat ourselves, how we treat others, and so forth. So I hope this helps you. If your phone looks anything like this, get it down. Find a way to lower it. Set structure, set systems in place so that you're not overwhelmed. And anything that's bothering you, anything that's making you uncomfortable, you can totally fix. You are in control. You have the power. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure that you also like, share, subscribe, and drop me a comment below.